Our incoming freshman class of 2025. A hearty welcome to Oswego East High School from those of us in the counseling office. My name is Mr. Ryan Duffy. I am one of the counselors, and I'm here today to give you guys some important information as you transition to high school. We're going to go over a few things in this video that are important right now related to course selection and all sorts of things that you can be thinking about as you are preparing to enter on this new journey through Oswego East High School. We're going to talk about what an Oswego East schedule looks like, the importance of our grades, different ways that you can get involved, the important course selection process, which we are about to start very shortly here, and all the kinds of ways that we can communicate with you and that you can communicate with us. So first of all, for those of you wondering, this is what a typical day at Oswego East looks like. We start at 7:20 a.m. and the final bell rings at 2:26 to release students to go home. We have 8 class periods during the day. They're each 48 minutes in length, and there are 6-minute passing periods between each hour. That 8 class periods per day does include lunch. Every student will have a lunch somewhere in their schedule. And typically, with an 8 class period day, that leaves space for 7 credits and a lunch, or some students choose to take 6 credits. And ASP, by the way, is what we call study hall. It stands for academic study period. So some students, especially freshmen, like to have a study hall sometime during their day to give them that extra hour to get caught up on their homework or to do some extra studying and get extra help. So most of our freshmen will either take 7 credits and a lunch or 6 credits, an ASP, and a lunch. Remember, there are 22 credits needed to graduate. So if you kind of do the math in your head there is some room for students to take study halls if they feel they need them, if they would benefit from them. You could also fill up your schedule with credits and start making progress toward that 22 credit minimum for graduation as soon as you need. This is what a typical freshman year schedule will look like. So you see that we break things down by semesters. Our school grades 2 times throughout the year at the end of both semesters. Semester 1 goes from August until December, and semester 2 goes from January until the end of May. And typically this is what a freshman will take. Everyone's going to take an English class. Most students will take a history class like modern world history, a science class like biology. There will be a lunch/freshman seminar in there somewhere, more about that in a moment. A math class like Algebra 1 or Geometry. And then that leaves room for PE, which will be 1 semester, Health, which would be 1 semester, and electives. So what you're going to see is that most of our core academic classes, English, math, science, and social studies, will be a year long, while some of our classes like PE, health, and your electives may only run for 1 semester, either first or second semester. That leaves you with some flexibility when you plan out your schedule, depending on the electives that you want to take to make some choices, which is always good. Here are some frequently asked questions that we get. First, how will lunches operate? So we have lunch periods between 4th hour and 7th hour in the day. Students will go to lunch for half of the class period, and then they will have freshman seminar for the other half. So you may get a schedule that may say that you have lunch 5A. That means that your lunch would be the first half of 5th hour. Somewhere halfway through the period, there will be an announcement made where all of the students that have that lunch the first half of the class period will get up and go to their freshman seminars. Some students will have it the opposite way. They may have 6B lunch. So from their 5th hour class, they will go directly to their freshman seminar. They'll be there for 24 minutes, half of a class period. And then there will be an announcement made where they can head to lunch for the second half of that class period. We get asked a lot what classes will be offered during summer school. This can change a little bit from year to year. We do offer a summer school program, and it is currently being developed for the 2021 summer session. Offerings will be made public via our course catalog. That information will typically come out sometime sometime closer to the summer as it is finalized. Some students do take some summer school classes for initial credit, and then as your high school career goes on, some students do end up taking classes for credit recovery if needed. How does a student get into an honors course? Well, a lot of the information that we get comes from your 8th grade teacher. They give us recommendations for students and what honors classes would be right for them based on a lot of factors, including assessment scores, test scores, and your current grades in your classes. If you ever had questions about how to take an honors course, if you weren't recommended, please talk to your high school counselor at Oswego East. I want to talk a little bit about the importance of grades in high school. So, freshman year is incredibly important. When we talk about what it takes to get into college and to put yourself in the best position and start off on the right foot, I want you to remember that your freshman year high school grades are the first thing that colleges see when you apply and they look at your official transcript. That means that handing in your classwork and your homework is incredibly important for getting good grades. Colleges, like I said, will look at your grades from freshman through junior years. Again, freshman year is the first thing that they see. It's your first chance to make a first impression, so do be sure to start out strong. Also keep in mind that if you're a student athlete and you're planning on playing a sport in high school, or if you're planning on participating in a student club or an activity, you must maintain good grades in order to be eligible to participate in both of those. You will have to repeat a high school class if you do not pass it. This is incredibly important. Remember, I said you need 22 credits in order to graduate. That includes some specific classes that you must pass. If you don't pass a semester of any high school class that is required, you have to repeat it. That might mean summer school. That might mean retaking a class all over again the next year. We don't want that, so it's so important that you put in the work, turn in your work, and study so that you pass. To do that in high school, time management is key. Yes, there will be homework. There will be an expectation that you do some things outside of the normal class period. And that might mean that you have to find a way to balance your time, stay organized, and make sure that you're giving yourself the best opportunity to succeed. We know that it's important to get involved. Here are all the things that you can do to get involved at Oswego East, all of our clubs and activities. And if you had a very strong magnifying glass, you might be able to read these right now. It's so hard to fit these all on one page, you can see, because there's so many of them. Heck, pause the video and do some squinting so you might be able to find something that you're interested in. What I want you guys to see when you look at this is just how many opportunities we have, because I personally believe it's so important for all of our high school students to find something that they're interested in. A lot of times this means trying something out, maybe trying something you haven't done before, giving it a chance, seeing if it might be something that you enjoy. Who knows? We have so many things. I'm sure there is something on this list for everybody. So let's talk a little bit about course selection. This is coming up very soon. By the time you're watching this video, it may even be going on right now. So here's how the course selection process works for Oswego East. We do get teacher placement from your 8th grade teachers. Parents, you'll be receiving an email in mid-February with the course requests that your student has selected and a timeline to make changes. One thing to be aware of, parents especially, is that we at the high school level do have to have things finalized much, much earlier than you may be used to at the junior high level. So keep in mind that by the time spring rolls around, we usually want all course selections to be final. This can be difficult because it means that we're not able to make changes once we reach the summer. We're definitely not able to make changes once we get to August and as the school year approaches. So do put some time now into thinking about the best combination of classes that would be right for your student, and try and make the best decisions that you can now, so that by the time we get to the middle or end of February, we can feel very good about the final selections that we have made. Elective options are going to be emailed home in mid-November. This is so you can review all of the different elective choices that we have and make your selection for your students. Tyler, where you enter your course selections, will close on November 29th. So that gives you some time to go through and make your selections. More information about the process of actually getting into Tyler and making those selections will be available elsewhere on our website. So here's what happens next. Some important links in here that you can screenshot and you can add. Parents and students, reference our course selection email. It will have links to schedule appointments with your individual counselor. Counselors at Oswego East, we use a utility called You Can Book Me, or more appropriately, youcanbook.me. That's the website that we use. It's very easy to schedule appointments with us. You go to find our pages, you find who your counselor will be based on your last name, and you go to our first initial last name dash 308.youcanbook.me. Now, if you don't remember that, that's totally fine because all of this contact information is listed on the Oswego East webpage where you can go to our student services contact page and find those links to our You Can Book Me scheduling utility. Virtual appointments need to be scheduled somewhere in this window of December 9th to December 18th. That gives a little bit more, oh, how's my math doing here? About 2 weeks there to schedule those appointments. Appointments are only going to be 10 minutes. We know that's not a lot of time, so come prepared with whatever questions you may have, and we can make the best use of our time and answer all of those questions and make sure that we all feel good about the schedule that we put in place for your student. And please email your 8th grade counselor with any questions that you may have about that transition and what classes may be right for your student. That's just about it. All that's left is to find ways to stay connected to us through this process. You can link up with us on Facebook. Our OE Student Services Facebook page link is there if you zoom in a little bit. And the OE Class of 2025 Google Classroom page is already up and running. If you go to classroom.google.com and enter in that join code XD4M6WQ, that will get you linked up with all of the information that we have for our incoming freshmen and anything else that is important for students to know as they come here to Oswego East. That's all we have for you. Again, if you have any other questions, please contact your counselor, and we are so looking forward to having you join us next year.